What's up, alligators? I feel like when it comes to forgiveness, we all know why it's important to forgive. For instance, in the Lord's Prayer, we ask God to forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. But more so, there's the question of how do I forgive this person? People are wronged every day in small and large ways, whether it's showing up 30 minutes late for dinner or a drunk driver killing your child in a car accident. How to forgive someone is something that we can work on a daily basis. So today, thanks to Leland Mello, I'm going to be talking about 10 different ways of how to forgive in under 10 minutes. So stay tuned, and I hope you learn a thing or two. Hi, I'm Allie Marie, and this is My Catholic Perspective. To be a part of the alligators, all you have to do is watch this video, and then in the comments below, hashtag alligators 1 through 10 for whichever pointer you find most helpful in your walk of forgiving others. So here are 10 things that I've done to process any anger that I've held in my heart. 1. Go to confession and confess any anger that is present toward that person. Not only can this help absolve you from feeling the weight of the anger, your priest may have some insights into how to process that anger even deeper. 2. Write a letter with no intention of sending it, and then burn the letter. After you write the letter, you can even write a letter back to yourself from their perspective. This can be an interesting way to process the other person's perspective if you're unable to speak with them directly. When we write things out opposed to speaking them, they process through our brain in a different way. In fact, if you're struggling with a particular question, like, why am I still holding this against you? You can write it out with your non-dominant hand, and it processes through the brain in a different way than if you had written it with your dominant hand. In this letter, express to them, what did they take away from you? What do you want from them? At the end of the day, just be sure to express your emotions freely. As you burn the letter, watch those emotions in the smoke rise up. It's a similar effect as incense. We see the prayers rising up to the Lord, and we offer up our pain, just as I talked about yesterday in regard to redemptive suffering. 3. Accept the fact that you may never get an apology. Just as the quote says, not forgiving is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to hurt or die. Not forgiving somebody doesn't harm them, it only harms ourselves. While it can be difficult to forgive somebody without an apology, at the end of the day, the reason they're not apologizing is because they either can't own up to what they did or they genuinely don't believe that they did anything wrong. In either event, your emotions are still valid. You could even walk yourself through an imaginary conversation with them during a meditation if you'd like. Picture them stating to you what you would want to hear them say. 4. If they are somebody who's in your life, speaking to them with ownership language is paramount. This means speaking in I statements. I felt this way when, because, blank. So, I felt hurt when you lied to me because I thought our relationship was based on honesty. Then we listen respectfully to their side of the story. This ties into number 5. If necessary, cut them out of your life for a period of time. If you're married and your spouse cheated on you, you don't have to get divorced. Separate. Go stay at a girlfriend's house. Send him to a guy friend's house. If it's not somebody you live with and they have severely hurt you, consider blocking their phone number and on social media for a period of time. Because number 6 is give it time. Ecclesiastes tells us God makes all things beautiful in His time. Sometimes the only thing we can do is accept the grace of time to help process our emotions and allow a tangible number of days or weeks to be between ourselves and that event. Number 7 is pray for them. Every time you think of them and that anger begins to be stirred in your soul, pray to God. Lord Jesus, be with your child and show them your love in a way that you have never made known before. That prayer in and of itself, after going to confession, was the number one way that I was able to process my anger against a particular person. Which draws into number 8. Only God knows this person's experiences. Perhaps they lost both their parents at a very young age and were never given an example of what a healthy relationship looks like. At the end of the day, though, God is that judge. There's an element of trust that we give to God in holding everybody accountable for their actions. That's not to say, though, that if you're in a dangerous situation, that you should continue to stay because God is going to hold them accountable one day. 9, think of others in a similar situation as yourself and know that you are not alone. While it's impossible to compare suffering, since that scale of 1 to 10 is relative, it still doesn't mean that we can humble ourselves to recognize that someone else may have it worse off than ourselves. Sometimes putting our grudges in perspective can help. Maybe the grudge we're holding on to isn't worth it in the first place. However, that does not discount any feeling of betrayal that you have felt in being wronged. 10th, and finally, talk to a spiritual director or a counselor, somebody you know and can trust with the situation. I know ogres are like onions, but so are humans. Once one layer has been peeled back, another layer is left exposed. Sometimes that layer just beneath the anger that we're experiencing can reveal why we're having such an extreme reaction. For instance, my reaction to porn usage was shaped by my mom's. Utilizing all of these pieces and running back to confession is how I have been able to let go of a lot of the anger that I've held on to from my past. I know some may think I have a perfect life, but trust me, I don't. But it's trial by fire. Maybe that'll get me some time out of purgatory. One can only hope. God bless you all. I'm looking forward to seeing the hashtag alligator 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the comments. And tomorrow I'll be addressing Bernadette's question about how to love and support those who are in a situation of domestic violence. Until then, we'll see you later, alligators.